All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Train Station. As always, I am your host, A Train. A lot less nervous today than I was last time, man. Big game coming up on Sunday with the Super Bowl ahead of us, so I'm gonna take a deeper dive into it, like I promised I would. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. This year's Super Bowl is a matchup probably nobody saw at the beginning of the season coming. The matchup between the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. Uh, I thought the Rams were a few years away. They had just made a big trade in the offseason for Matthew Stafford. And, it was a great move on their end, but I thought it would take a couple of years to put it all together. Then, towards the trade deadline, they ended up getting Von Miller from the Denver Broncos, who's known as one of the best linebackers, of this time. Already a Super Bowl champion, had already won the AFC. So he goes over to the NFC. They already had Aaron Donald, so then they added Von Miller to the defense that also already has Jalen Ramsey. And then there's this guy, Odell Beckham, who has pretty much been a locker room cancer everywhere he's gone. New York, Cleveland. Cleveland lets him go as he figures Baker Mayfield's the problem there. Whatever. Rams end up signing him. He was deciding between the Packers and the Rams. Rams ultimately offered him the better opportunity. And it ended up working for him because the moment Odell gets to LA, Robert Woods tears his ACL. And boom. Suddenly, Odell, instead of becoming an insurance policy, becomes very, very needed in that offense. And boy, has it paid off for him. He's been very good. Um, Obviously, when you're bringing in a head case like that, it's always tricky. He's not quite a head case like Antonio Brown, but he's still a head case, and you never know what you're going to get. But it seems like he's been cool mannered and stuff since he's gotten to LA. But the real story this season is the Cincinnati Bengals. Last year, their number one pick, Joe Burrow, tears both his ACL and his MCL, forcing him to miss majority of his rookie year. Um, and that's due to having a very bad offensive line. So they come back this year. Everybody in the draft, come draft time, yep, the Bengals, they're going to take offensive line. They're going to take Penei Sewell, who ended up in Detroit, because they need to protect Joe Burrow at all costs. They end up taking Jamar Chase. We obviously see how that has worked out. Even after Jamar Chase, everybody was like, oh, Joe Burrow's going to get killed because he still doesn't have an offensive line or whatever. Jamar Chase ends up 81 catches, 1,400 yards, and 13 touchdowns. So obviously that pick ended up being very, very good. Nobody expected Cincinnati to even be here, especially 2 years ago when the last time these two teams faced, the Rams and the Bengals, the last time these two teams faced, you saw the Bengals finish 2-14, which led them to having Joe Burrow. The Rams ended up winning that game 24-10. And yeah, they got Joe Burrow, and the rest is history. He kind of has that look in his eye that he had for those that watch college football. He had this swagger at LSU that I think was very hard to beat. And so he had that swagger at LSU, and I think he's got the swagger back now, and that has led to Cincinnati doing very, very well. They still need help on the offensive line, and their defense isn't quite up to par, but they've kind of been the Cinderella story of this year, and it's been exciting to see from both ends as we're not seeing Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. We're not seeing Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, or Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. We're getting something fresh and exciting. Two teams that really haven't had a lot of playoff success. We're seeing, finally have playoff success in the Super Bowl. Uh, this is the Bengals' third ever Super Bowl appearance, their first one since the 1990s. And this is the Rams' fourth Super Bowl appearance. They had one a few years ago against the Patriots. They managed to score 3 points before ultimately Jared Goff pretty much ending the reign of Jared Goff, leading Matthew Stafford in. Yeah, so this is their fourth total Super Bowl appearance and their first in a few years, and they only have one victory dating back to 2000. So the Rams here looking to get the victory against the Bengals. The Bengals looking to get their first ever Super Bowl victory, since the 90s. And like I mentioned earlier, nobody coming in expected the Bengals to be Super Bowl contenders, let alone, a playoff win, let alone competing for a Super Bowl. Here they are. I stated very briefly in the last episode where I was very nervous that I think the Rams are going to win 31-24. I'm going to stick with that prediction. And yes, this is a Rams jersey I'm wearing, by the way, but it's a St. Louis Rams jersey, not an LA Rams jersey. I think it's going to be very similar. Maybe not 31-24, but I still think the Rams are going to win. I will say it's going to be 34-31. I'm going to change the score up a little bit. A lot of these games have ended on last-second field goals. I don't think this game is going to end on a last-second field goal, but I think the Rams will be trailing like 31-20, like 31-28 or something. And Matthew Stafford is going to go down and get a game-winning drive, which we know he's so good at doing since he leads the league, in fourth quarter comebacks. He's led the league. So he's going to do it again. Rams are going to win. Stafford's going to get his first Super Bowl. And I could talk all day about Matthew Stafford and how Lions fans have treated him. I know there's plenty of Lions fans out there rooting for him, like myself. Absolutely the biggest Matthew Stafford fan and grateful for everything he did for that organization. And then there's the other clowns, that think Matthew Stafford was the problem in Detroit. Was he really? Because they won 3 games. It's like, was he really the problem? Clearly, I know he didn't have any playoff wins coming in. He's got 3 this year alone, a much better team, a much better coach, a much better run organization, and you see the results of that. When you have everything in place to let Matthew Stafford become successful, he becomes successful the year he leaves that trap and that crappy organization in Detroit. I'm very, very excited about this game. Usually I'm not super excited about the Super Bowl because it's a lot of the same teams all the time. College football is becoming the same way. So it's nice to see something different where we don't have the same teams all the time. Also, it being in LA, they had to do it big. I'm really looking forward to the halftime show. I also briefly mentioned that. But I'm really looking forward to the halftime show where we're going to have Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar. It's just a giant lineup. And I'm very excited for it. This is definitely more towards my kind of audience. It's the hip-hop vibe, which is definitely more so for the younger audience, which is great. And I'm ready for this to be one of the most exciting and most watched Super Bowls in a long time. And I know there's probably people out there thinking, nobody's going to watch this game, whatever. There will be plenty of people watching. I'm going to be one of them. Very excited for this game. Not really sure. Hoping it goes one way. It could go the other way. Like I said, Joe Burrow has that swagger in his eyes. So if Cincinnati wins, I wouldn't be surprised, and it'd be very unexpected. The offseason for both teams is going to be very interesting because the Bengals, they're a team that I don't think is going to be a contender year in and year out. And, they're going to have a lot to figure out. They do have an offensive line they still have to take care of and all of that. And I expect them to do that this offseason. As far as the Rams go, you have no draft picks or very little draft picks. You have an aging defense. What are you going to do with Von Miller? Do you re-sign him? Do you re-sign Odell, or do you let Odell go get his money elsewhere because Odell has earned his money? And, there's a lot of questions for both teams going in, but, there's one thing. It's hard to determine who's actually going to win this game, and we could break it down position by position, but it's all really based on what you believe. So if we were to break this game down position by position, the Rams win defense, the Rams win quarterback, and the Rams win in the receiving core. Guaranteed. Jamar Chase and is great, but he's not better than Cooper Kupp and OBJ. It's just he's not, and I know there's a lot of people out there that'll probably be like, well, the Rams have a good receiving core, but the Bengals are better. No, as great as the Bengals are with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is their second. Cooper Kupp is arguably been the number one receiver in the NFL this year, right up there with Devontae Adams, among others. But the way Matthew Stafford has had him play, I know they had that extra 17th game where Cooper Kupp could break all the records. The man has just been on a mission this season. He tore his ACL not too long ago as well. So him and Joe Burrow both have that in common. But if you look at it, the Rams have the advantage in the receiving game. Joe Burrow is a great young quarterback, but he's not at Matthew Stafford's level yet. They win in the quarterback as well. And then the defense, obviously the Rams have the much better defense. They have the better offensive line. The Bengals, though, do have, the better run game. The Rams were missing Cam Akers for a majority of the season, but he's come back and he's not in game shape. He's not ready yet, and Sony Michel is just nowhere near Joe Mixon. So the Bengals have the better run game. I would say I want to say the Bengals have the better coaching, only because Sean McVay, when he coaches games, he tends to be way too conservative and call stupid plays at stupid times. Zach, two great young both coaches in the Super Bowl are younger than Tom Brady. So that kind of tells you the direction the NFL is heading. Zach Taylor versus Sean McVay. I'm gonna give the edge to coaching to the Bengals. Like I said, just because Sean McVay tends to call stupid plays at stupid times. Special teams is really a toss-up. And offensive line goes to the Rams, the Bengals. So if you look at it on paper, the Rams are better and they should win. But if this offseason and this season have proven us anything, it's that anything in this league can happen on any given Sunday. So I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised if the Bengals pull it out. But I'm pulling for my boy Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. They are the home team. The Super Bowl's in LA this year, so a home team with the home crowd, who was mostly in St. Louis, by the way. Don't know why they ever moved the Rams out of St. Louis, but that's another story for another day. So, yeah, I have the Rams winning. On paper, the Rams should win. The Rams are a 4.5-point favorite. Might be a little high, but understandable. They're given the home nod as well. If you guys aren't watching this live and you guys catch this on my YouTube later, you guys let me know below who you think is going to win. Yeah, that's really all I had. A little bit more in depth about each team. It's going to be a good one. I'm very excited, but I'm mostly looking forward to the halftime show, which I know a lot of people are, but more people will probably watch the halftime show than the actual game, and that's okay. I just hope that we get some good commercials this year. Super Bowl usually has great commercials, but the world that we live in today, it kind of doesn't allow for great commercials anymore. So I'm hoping that we get one or two great commercials, because it always makes the Super Bowl that much better. When the commercials are better. So I'm just hoping that we get some good commercials in there too. Anyways, that's all I have as far as talking about the Super Bowl. I was saying, if you're going to watch this on YouTube later, comment down below who you think is going to win the Super Bowl, why you think they're going to win the Super Bowl, what you think of the halftime show. Link to my Twitch will be in that description, since you aren't watching it here. And I will be back tomorrow with something fun that's not sports related. It's video game related. Um, I'll give you guys a hint. It's kind of a year-end review thing like I did with both Spotify and Twitch. So that's coming tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Yeah, and watch the game Sunday. Go Rams. Catch you guys next time.